symbol, whatever. All right, guys, we're live. We're here. Welcome to Chiefs Chat Live. It took us a minute to get this sucker going, but it's happening. Welcome to a Victory Thursday.
Yeah, what day is it?
We're back. We're back in the show, back in the saddle, back in the Super Bowl again, setting a record as the first back-to-back champs in the history of the National Football League to get to a third straight Super Bowl. No one, despite the facts the Steelers went back-to-back twice, the Patriots went back-to-back, Cowboys went back-to-back, Dolphins. Doesn't matter. Pick a team. No one's ever gone to a third straight after winning two in a row. And it's come full circle, Huong Forrest. And I'll get your take on this in a second. The first Super Bowl, the Green Bay Packers defeated our Chiefs in Super Bowl I. And the next Super Bowl, the Green Bay Packers went on to become the first back-to-back champs in the history of the NFL. And we've come full circle, and now we, the first defeated team ever in the Super Bowl, have already made history by getting to a third, but have a chance to be the first 3 times winners in a row. What say you to that, Huong Forrest? And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I will say that it feels pretty dang amazing. It is a really special feeling, and I think that we can appreciate this, we can enjoy this, despite the hate, despite the people saying we're villains and all the other things. I still feel really good about where we're at, and I'm grateful for it. And I think that any Chiefs fan will tell you likewise that they're extremely grateful to be here. So I'm enjoying it. And cry. People can cry. People can hate. I just ignoring all those comments on my various videos and things that I have all over the place out there. I just ignore them because, misery loves company, and I'm not going there.
Cole Keller's in the chat. I want to make sure I say hi to Cole. Everybody else out there that's lurking around, feel free to say hello. It's good to see you guys. It's, shall we say, boring week, aka Pro Bowl week. It says. I'm gonna put this one up. Where's the chat? Show me the chat. I'm trying to use the fancy version of StreamYard again because they're offering it for a short time to have fun with it. Comments. There we go. Comments. Okay. Cole's got 3 in there. It says, we've been through so many heartbreaks. We're due for this. That's a good one to put up there. We are 100% due. I agree. We've been through a lot. I started following this team a long, long time ago. Let me just touch on this first to get this out of the way. I had some videos set up, some windows set up to discuss and break down penalties and how, Josh Allen has gotten 59% of the roughing the passer and not unnecessary roughness calls. Of the 172 that have been called between him and Patrick Mahomes in their career together, Josh has got 59% of them. So everybody talking about Patrick gets called. I'm not going to get into all that. Trey Wingo did a video. If you guys look for Trey Wingo breaking down Chiefs and Bills, you'll find it. He just was fed up with people. Just stop crying. He was just like, get off of it. What I wanted to suggest was there had been 2 people talking about there's a chip in the ball. They got to perfect that. Then I heard another guy come on and say, well, the chip can't tell you when the body touches the ground. So that's not going to be 100% effective. Then guys said, well, the over-top camera seems to tell properly. Well, first of all, the yellow line on the field is not official. First of all. Secondly, the overhead camera can't tell you when the body touches the ground. So again, problem. Then what if they did decide to go with the chip and then it goes the Chiefs' way and somebody finds out that, Clark Hunt has shares in the company that makes the chip, or goodness forbid, and this would definitely happen. It would only be a matter of time. You get the chip in the ball. There's lasers, there's scan. Everything's all set up. The machines are going to tell us that we're taking human error out of it. We're going to let the machines decide the game for us. And ultimately, at some point, your favorite team out there, whoever you might be, I'm not talking Chiefs Kingdom because we just trust our boys, but your favorite team out there who you want to beat the Chiefs is going to have a call, not go their way. The scanners are going to scan. They're going to say, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, insert enemy quarterback here, was stopped by the Chiefs because the chip says so and the lasers say so. But every camera angle on the broadcast is going to tell your eyes different, and you're going to lose your mind. Right. So how about we just stick with human error and know that it sucks sometimes. And at the end of the day, my final straw with it all is, listen, for people that think it's fixed, people that think it's rigged, people that think they're trying to help the Chiefs, one way to not help the Chiefs would be have them up by 3, have them up by 3 and give the Bills the ball with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go, 3 timeouts, and down by 3. You give that to Patrick Mahomes, you're going to lose the football game. Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback with a minute to go, down by 1 score in the playoffs. Brady's got the second best record. I think he's like 3 of 14, something like that. Drew Brees has got 1 win like that. There's a couple other quarterbacks that are in that mix, in that area, in that range. Patrick Mahomes, do you know the percentage, Hong?
What's the percentage, Danilo?
What's that little red number that people put up with emojis all the time? It's 100. He is 7 of 7 when given the ball with a minute to go in regulation to go down and win the football game. Yeah, down by 1 score. He doesn't get defeated like that. He doesn't go down like that. So if you have the ball with 3 minutes to go, I suggest you make hay whilst the sun shines. Because 15 over there with a bullet, I'm wearing his shirt tonight in honor of him because I had the Karlaftis shirt to start the game. Then I had the Patrick Mahomes hoodie on all day, and he balled out. What were your feelings on the performance, Hong, of our players, of our team, of our guys?
There was a certain level of comfort that entered my soul not long after the game started. Unlike some weeks before where it's just very stressful and didn't seem like our offense was firing on all cylinders right out of the gate. That was not the case this week. I felt fantastic going in and starting this game the way that we did. So, we didn't get to capitalize on some of the things that happened early in the game, but that's okay. I felt like we had sure footing the entire duration. We were in control. There was no moment where it was like, ooh, yeah, never a doubt in this moment. It's always stressful because, we keep the game so close and so tight for weeks and weeks and weeks now, and especially in a moment like this. But there was not a doubt in this game. And that felt really, really good to be able to see that effort from the very beginning through until the very end.
Cole says, good to see you, Dario Miller. Dario says, hello, Dan and Hong. I want to say hello to everybody out there, and hello to Hong again with my new friend for the show.
What do you have?
It's my Super Mario magic question mark box. When something fun comes up in the chat, I'm going to play it.
Is it sponsored by anybody?
It's sponsored by my childhood, Huong Forrest. It's sponsored by my love of the 2 little Italian plumbers that I could totally relate to as a little WAP kid named with my last name.
Love it.
Guys, it's good to see you all in the chat. Cole says it's a boring week. I just want to put this up there so everyone knows. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe, tap the notification bell. We've been 190, 180 odd subscribers away from 1,000 for forever because it keeps going up and keeps going down. It keeps getting whatever twisted around. I'm going to probably switch over to Rumble soon because those numbers just go up. They don't take people off you periodically if they don't jump into the show after a while. So if you ever are a fan of the show and then a while goes by and you go, I wonder how it's going on over at Chiefs Chat. We're going to keep doing shows every year. It might not be as regular sometimes. This year was kind of a little bit off, but a lot of stuff going on, acting going again and stuff like that. But we'll get it regulated for next season and for the rest of this season and into the preseason with draft and stuff like that. But if you don't get notifications for a while, just check and make sure you haven't been kicked out by YouTube. I don't kick people out, but sometimes YouTube just trims my list for some reason. I know what the reason is, because if I hit 1,000, then they got to pay for the commercials that they put on my spots. And my shows are usually a few hours long, or at least 40 minutes or an hour. Anyway, getting back to the game, it was fantastic. Dario Miller says, everyone hating on the Chiefs like they did the New England Patriots. It's 100% correct.
Say it again.
And what's great is hearing guys like Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman saying,
Julian Edelman,
if you want to be the champ, just beat them. Shut up and beat them.
Yep.
Stop talking trash. They were better than your team. Get over it. It's harsh. It's cold-hearted. It's the truth. Okay? I live in Georgia now, and there's a lot of Atlanta fans that are very, very embittered about 28. Was it 28-3 or 23-3? Something stupid. Some crazy comeback. Can't remember what the total was. If it was 23-3 or 28-3, but when the Patriots came back on Atlanta, they're still not over it. I'm like, all you had to do was run the ball one time. one time, run the ball, and they don't have enough. They scored to tie the game with all like 1 second left on the clock. If Atlanta would have ran the ball one time, getting to that point, running the ball, it bothered me that. What did you hear from? Let me ask you first, Hong. What did you hear from pundits the day after the game? Because I was
the
too,
usual.
I was
that
too
the
happy to be
refs,
upset. Yeah,
you
but I
know,
would have been
plenty
furious.
of jokes about the refs, plenty of,
Yeah.
we didn't deserve that. Oh, Josh got cheated. Those were first downs. Yeah, just the usual, right? Just the usual. So that's fine.
I heard
We're
stuff from
here
like,
and we're where we're at. And I'm going to
yes,
agree with former Patriots and former villains and say that if they wanted to handle business and take care of it, then they should have just beat the champs.
it's lonely at the top, right?
Yep.
Except for Chiefs Kingdom, there's a lot of us. 28-3. Cole corrected it. I thought so. I was like, was it that much? Wow. Boo, Falcons. Anyway, sorry. It's there's only 2 teams left, so everybody's mad now. So everyone's either mad, bitter,
and they're
or
gonna boycott watching the Super Bowl and not.
sure.
And you know what? Fans have said this year over year over year over year, especially getting tired of watching like same names go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
For the last like decade or so. And you know what? Every year, the viewership of the Super Bowl game continues to go up and up and up. So say the things that you want to say or not, but you know you're going to tune in and watch the game regardless.
And to people that say it's going to be the worst Super Bowl ever, no, that belongs to the 2018 Rams and Patriots. That was the most pathetic, boring. I watched like 3 minutes of that, and I was just like, ugh, please. It would have been so much better if we got there. But anyway, I digress. I heard things like Josh looks scared, excuses. Jalen was fantastic. Saquon looked wonderful. The Bills abandoned the run. The Bills, who ran the ball over 30 times, they ran 30 times, and they abandoned the run. Chiefs got the calls, of course, but nobody notices like the Oliver no call where he jumped into the neutral zone, and when Caliendo backed off, they showed it right down the line, Hong. You see it, Oliver jump in, Caliendo backs up, and somehow that's false start. Yeah, false start is impossible once a defender enters the neutral zone. So just for you guys that don't know the rules out there. What else do we have? Kelsey's now a B-level player. Paulie from Dan Patrick's show. Shout out to Paulie from Dan Patrick. You know what I mean? Kelsey's sitting there. He's like a B-level. Did you see the Texans game, Paulie?
Right.
The 6 for 117 and a touchdown. Please stop with things like you're a Bears fan, bro. You're a Bears fan, okay? So I'll take your criticism with a grain of salt and lemon juice because there's some bitterness going on there. Kelsey didn't do anything, said Dan Patrick. I've seen multiple clips from people like Brian Baldinger and other guys this week showing the blocks Kelsey made against the Bills. For Patrick Mahomes to set his record of 2 rushing touchdowns in one game. He's never done it before. He decided he would do it against the Bills in a game where the pundits said, surely Josh is going to out-quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He didn't do that. Surely, absolutely, he's going to outrush Patrick Mahomes. He didn't do that. Surely he'll be more effective in the run game on the goal line than Patrick Mahomes, and he definitely did not do that. I think Patrick Mahomes had his little notepad out and was listening and going, okay. Oh, they're the better. Okay. We haven't scored 30 yet this season? Okay. He made a checklist, and he checked it twice, and he checked every box on.
Everything off.
Take me through your night. How were you feeling? I saw your videos
really
the day after. She had the feels going. She had the emotions going afterwards because, I know it sinks deep with her. But what were you going through that night watching the game?
Yeah.
When it was 22-21.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was a little close, and so that's when the heart rate started to really go up a little bit elevated. I was texting back and forth with a couple of friends who are like showing our Apple Watches with our heart rates, right? So yeah, it was a little bit nerve-wracking in those moments, of course, but there was still a certain calm about it. I think that's one of those things that's like you see and can get that poise. You can see how poised the players are, how they're behaving on the field, how they're playing. And even in that moment, with it being just within 1 point in that moment, there was still not like scramble, freaking out, crashing out moments of any sort. So I think that was very noticeable during the course of the game. So that just lent to me a little bit more sense of, oh, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. And as soon as that Samaje Perine got that first down, it was like, oh, that was like the ultimate satisfaction to like just cap off that game at that moment. So yeah, it was a good night. Really, really good night over here in this household.
I forgot to wear my beads. My beads are here. I have my beads for New Orleans, by the way. Got to throw the beads on. There we go.
For NOLA, New Orleans.
Now we're cooking with gas. Got the NOLA beads on. Yeah, and we talked about that last week.
There we go. Now you're right on.
Samaje and guys like that, how they were going to be impactful in this game. Hollywood Brown starting the game off with 2 first downs. This is the thing. Like, people, if you go position by position, as far as the better team, first of all, let's get one thing straight. Yeah. We heard this before. This is a familiar song, okay? Because a few years ago, we played these Philadelphia Eagles, a few different players on the roster. Jalen Hurts led the team in rushing, which he probably isn't going to do this time because Saquon is an independent force. However, they were running the ball well with the running backs when we played them the first time, and they weren't against us because every time their running back got a ball, they got smashed. And the only one getting any success was Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, I heard today a reporter said, I think it was Rich Eisen, he was right. He said Jalen Hurts had his best game since that Super Bowl against the Washington Commanders in this game they just played. That's his best game in a couple of years, basically. And that's true. And he still has Devonta Smith and he still has A.J. Brown, but he had those guys before and they were younger and healthier. He still got Dallas Goedert. Let's go down the list. Okay, coach versus coach. You taking Andy Reid or you taking Nick Sirianni? No brainer. We're taking Andy Reid.
No brainer.
Quarterback, are you taking the excellent Jalen Hurts or the phenomenal GOAT to be Patrick Mahomes? No brainer.
Always Patrick Mahomes.
You're taking the multi-Super Bowl champ who's already beaten the other guy, Patrick Mahomes. Running backs, I'm going to give him that one for the starter. Saquon's the number one back in this game. But when you go
absolutely
Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, there's nobody on their roster that matches either one of those guys. So when our first guy comes off the field, the next guy in is a starter. He's not a backup, hoping to get some yards against the 4th or 5th best rush defense in football, the Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Wide receivers, okay, if A.J. Brown's healthy, he's probably the number one. He's been nicked up in the calf a little bit. We'll see. Had a good game last week. And then Devonta Smith is a weapon, the Slim Reaper, they call him. But we have – the last time we played them, Huong, our top 2 receivers not named tight ends were Juju Smith-Schuster, and number 2 was probably Justin Watson. As far as ability, as far as effectiveness with the team. Kadarius Toney ended up making some plays. That was the one year he was really effective for us. Had the record punt return in the Super Bowl. Had a great touchdown where he just faked out Darius Slay into next week and just jogged into the end zone. But now our receivers go, Worthy is number 1 as far as stats go. Okay, he's taken over from where Rashee Rice was, and he's faster. Right. He's also his end arounds look more like Mahomes, or more like Hardman's speed than what Rashee Rice was doing, which I like. And then we have Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins. Justin Watson doesn't get out there till like our 4th receiver, and then Juju Smith-Schuster and Justin Watson. Like, we are so deep at wide receiver. Right. You're going to double Travis? Okay. We got a couple 4-2, 4-3 guys that might have something to say about that downfield. You're going to double one of them. And last week, just so you guys know, Mr. Hurts, Zach Ertz went off for 114 yards. So if Zach Ertz is getting 114 yards against your defense, you're going to have a situation on your hands. Not to mention Noah Gray stepped up this year and has become a true number 2. So I don't see the weakness across the board on the offense. Last year we heard about how their defense was better than our defense, their pass rush and their sack numbers and blah, blah, blah. Not last year, but the last time we played in the Super Bowl. And we also heard how their O-line was amazing. And yet in the Super Bowl, we gave up 0 sacks and we got their quarterback twice, including a fumble for a touchdown. So miss me with all the, well, statistically in the regular season, and okay, I don't care. I don't care. It's playoff Patrick. It's playoff Andy. It's Super Bowl champion back-to-back Chiefs. You got to deal with it's. Let me ask you, can you imagine inside that locker room? This is a good point here. Justin Watson is a guy the Eagles do not need to sleep on. I totally agree, Cole. That could be a problem for them. Dariel Miller asked a question. He says, think if we win, Kelsey will be back next year or will he retire? I think the talk of Kelsey retirement, Andy retirement, it's all overblown crap. I don't think they're going anywhere. Why would you leave now? Why would you leave? You're at the height of your powers as a franchise, setting record after record after record. If they lose, might Kelsey be like, but then he said a couple years ago when they lost to the Bucks, he wanted that next one even more. And then when they lost in the AFC Championship game, it was like, there's no way I'm going anywhere.
Right.
I think this talk of retirement every year has got to stop. I mean, were Kelsey's numbers down this year? Yeah, because Patrick Mahomes turned into the most frustrating, as far as like weapons around him, fantasy football player. He's fun to have on my team, but anybody around him is not fun to have in fantasy football because you get a pass and you get a pass and it's like everybody's getting like 4 or 5 catches, 30, 40, 50 yards. And then there was a couple games later where Travis took over and was getting a lot, but there's no real number one on this team because everybody knows their job and Patrick's going to go to the open man. He does not care. Whereas if we take
that's really wise for game planning purposes, right? We've seen that so many times. And I think a lot of that too around the Travis conversation with, his numbers were so down this year, but he contributed so many different areas. He blocked, he blocked, he did what he had to do to create those gaps and those holes for his running backs to run through. So I completely forgot what I was going to say, but, that was the main point of that.
I'm kind of stunning tonight. So it's like, distracting. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Get over yourself. Okay, fine. Jeez. Gosh.
It'll come back. It's
point. Okay. You jump in as soon as it comes back. Cole Kelleher is a comment, and Dariel agrees with him. Dariel mentioned that Barkley only needs 30 yards to set a record. That's been amazing what he's done. If you're a Giants fan out there, I'm sorry. Sorry. I feel like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. It's not your fault, fans. It's not your fault that your team couldn't win with Saquon and you're seeing him do this now. It's not your fault. That's got to be so. Can you imagine? This is tantamount to when the Raiders watched Al Davis let Marcus Allen walk out and come to the Chiefs, and we had all that success with him and Joe Montana. But then add if they went to the Super Bowl, how the Raider fans would have felt. I have friends who are Raider fans, and they still have scars from that time. They're like, watching Marcus Allen run around in red and gold was so maddening.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, well, you
as a non-Raiders fan, you felt that for him and them. Yeah, for sure.
As a Chief fan, I didn't feel any of that. I felt great about all that.
Well, I have family members who are Raiders fans.
You do. She does. It's sad. And
I recall my thought.
She has 9 fans in her family.
That too. Yes. Oh my word, all of it. So back to the initial thing that we were talking about with, they've got all these number ones and they've got their true starters, but we've got all of these guys that no matter who you decide to go with, whose number gets called, everyone goes in there and they contribute and they do what they need to do. So, saying that Saquon is their true number one running back. Yeah, absolutely. But like we shared, anybody in any of the positions that we have, no matter who we put in, we can count on production from every single person.
Who outrushes who? Kareem Hunt or Pacheco?
Kareem Hunt.
I think Kareem Hunt's going to go nuts.
Yeah.
I think Kareem. I'm here for it,
I
too.
do. You
know
love
what? Pacheco. I'm so happy for Kareem. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I love Pacheco as well. But I'm really, really, and I know, the controversy surrounding Kareem Hunt and whatnot. But I think, too, at the end of the day, he knows the wrong that he did and how grateful he is to be back in this position, to be back with this franchise, this organization, and to be this close to his ring. So I think that he has been he's been leaving it all out there. He's been running so angry. He has just been doing fantastic. And I think that he's going to outrun Pops.
Right. And then receiver wise,
Oof.
who has the most receiving yards in this game?
Might have to go with Worthy. X marks the spot.
Yeah. I just feel like Travis is going to get loose. I feel like he's going to shock the world again and not shock the world.
Yeah.
Travis is going to do Travis things.
Right.
And they're going to get caught up in covering the speedy guys. And it's going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
I get the whole middle by myself. Okay. Unless they stick 2 linebackers on them all game, or a linebacker and a safety bracketing them all game. Right. And just don't let them off the line of scrimmage. Which they could incur holding penalties and move the ball down the field for us that way. And I really don't care how we get it down the field. Let's just go get it. I wanted to bring up their tush push thing. Oof. Be warned, Eagles fans and Eagles players. We stopped you multiple times in the Super Bowl when we played you, and we just stopped Josh Allen and the Bills twice this past week. And it frustrated me because I looked at the stats and I heard pundits talking about it. They go, it's got to be frustrating for the Bills, because they got that turnover early with that fumble because the ball's slippery when it's cold. I'm sorry, it is. That handoff, the RPO, it was just a bad, frustrating play. We were going down to make it hopefully 14-0, and then we do that. But looking at brain cramp. Now I'm having the start stop. Where was I? I had a good point to make. Now it's lost. It's gone.
It'll come back. See, mine came back.
Running the ball. What were we talking about? What was I talking about, Huong Forrest?
Go cold.
I was picturing that. Oh, turnovers. Turnovers. Note to pundits out there and fans out there and everybody who wants to say it's got to be frustrating for the Bills because they didn't even turn the ball over. 3 things happen. If you don't run out of time, 3 things can happen when you're on offense. You score, you punt, or you turn the ball over, either by interception or fumble, or it's in the name, turnover on downs. Mm-hmm. When you go for it on 4th down 6 times and you're 4 out of 6, you have turned the ball over twice. So make no mistake, the Buffalo Bills lost the turnover battle, and it cost them.
Yeah,
and they chased points to the degree that they had points on the board and took 1 point off to try to get 1 more point. What's the old phrase about a bird in the hand?
Yeah.
How many in the bush is that worth, Hong? It's worth 2.
Is better.
You're going to really take points off the board against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. In an AFC championship, you're 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So when people say Josh Allen looked nervous, I say Sean McDermott was nervous. And if they don't do that, they don't have that in the back of their head of, we missed that 2-pointer. No, they got the single already. They leave that on the board. They're that much closer. Then maybe when they go for 2 the second time, which would have been the first time, they feel a little more confident. Maybe they make it that time. Then what's the score? Tied. You have the ball. It's tied with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go, and you have 3 timeouts and you're going down. How much less pressure is that, Huong Forrest? They shot themselves in the foot. I'm sorry. You turned the ball over. You went for, and I had a note here too that the Ravens played the Bills, went for 2 and didn't get it and lost the game. The Bills played the Chiefs and went for 2 twice, didn't get it. We went for 2 once and executed and got it, and we win the game. Execution is going to be key in this game. And somebody's got in the chat, Cole says, Chris Jones or Jalen Carter? I say Jones because of his experience. I totally agree. Carter is a freak show. Carter is a monster, the old Georgia Bulldog, young Georgia Bulldog, actually. But Chris is in that space of he gets it. He gets it. Mm-hmm. All these veterans with multiple rings get – last week you saw it. They play like – and Patrick was playing like that, running the ball into the end zone. If we don't win today, I have all year to recover. So I'm throwing my body into every play. We are winning this game, or I'm breaking myself into pieces trying. And there's no fear of tomorrow with this team because they know tomorrow is next season. There's no tomorrow. It's that game, and that's all that matters in the world. There was one time I watched them play since Patrick Mahomes has been our quarterback, and they were just missing an ounce of that, just a capful of that. And it was that 3 yards for the rest of your lives, fellas. They didn't have it. They weren't thinking like that. That was against the Bengals. 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. We punched that in. There's no overtime. There's no loss to the Bengals. We're going to the Super Bowl against the Rams. We settled for, first of all, we almost fumbled the ball away on trying to run around in the backfield forever. We were 3 yards away with the best 3-man interior in football. And we didn't just go, knuckle up. This is the moment. This is where you make your paycheck. Right here, this play. They weren't thinking like that then that day. And that was very uncharacteristic for them. And maybe it was because they were shook about last year, the year before that, rather, with the Buccaneers. They're not that team anymore. They got it all corrected against the Eagles the next year, and they did it again last year against the 49ers. We go down by a few points, don't get worried. We go down by double digits, don't get worried. This team it's a team full of cornerbacks. They all have next play amnesia. I forgot what happened a minute ago. Let's go get 100 points. I forgot what happened. Let's go 800 miles an hour and get 100 points on the next play. That's all they're thinking about. Execute, 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 make my play, make my play. And I just want to take a side note and give kudos to the Bills because the effort by Josh at the end of the game on that throw, the diving touchdown by Cook, Nick Bolton rocked his rib cage. That play. What did you think when you saw that play? Because I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, definitely. There was legit concern there for sure. I just could not believe it. But yeah, we have to say, I appreciate the Bills team. I appreciate Bills Mafia. I appreciate Josh Allen very much so. It is just unfortunate that they are in the AFC with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes during this time.
For them, not for us. It's very fortunate for us.
So yeah, it is just really unfortunate because for them, absolutely for them, and I can definitely respect the game that he plays, what they bring to the field, what they are doing out there to come this close, because we've been there where we've been that close before against Tom Brady in that 2019 AFC championship game. But yeah, so we've been there, so we know this feeling, and it sucks, but can appreciate what they do and what the effort that they've put out there and that they've left there. So it's hard to get this close and come and be that short of making it one step further.
There's people that are questioning whether the Bills are ever going to get there, ever going to have a chance. I mean, it could happen. We could have something go wrong on our team. There could be a down play. Like we were lucky with injuries this year that timed out that we got our guys back all at the right time. I said before the season was finished, even when there was talk about when guys might come back. And I'm not going to try to pop up screens on this because StreamYard, I hate when the window gets all jacked up. I know you can insert stuff. Should I try, Hong, or should I just talk about it real quick?
I don't know. I'd say just talk about it. My network is already really wonky, and it's been like,
I don't want to lose you. Okay. But so if we win over Patrick Mahomes, it's got 2 touchdowns in a playoff game. Yeah. First time he's had 2 rushing touchdowns in a game, period. This team's where we were at here. Covered all those guys, covered all those bases.
Well, and I just want to, because Cole dropped something in the chat that goes along with this too. Cole said, I think it's amazing that Patrick ran 2 in for touchdowns and Josh Allen didn't run any in. Yeah. I think that's part of, at some point, it gets into the mentality towards being in this part of the game, right? Like Patrick keeps beating you again and again and again. And I think that does do something to you. They have this quarterback who uses his legs for every game, every week after week, rushes for touchdowns and whatnot. And he wasn't able to get it, but Patrick was. And so I think that does something to you after a while as well, of like, man, this is like that Grim Reaper, he's always there. He's always watching over you, and we just can't get past him. So
for instance, Josh Allen had 34 attempts to Patrick's 26. He completed 22 to Patrick's 18 completions. Patrick missed on 8 balls. Josh missed on 11. Patrick threw 1 touchdown. Josh threw 2. Patrick threw 245 yards. Josh threw 2. He threw 237. James Cook had 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh had 39 yards. Patrick had 43 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. And Kareem threw in 64 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Pacheco was like 5 carries for 12 yards. Worthy had more yards on 2 carries. Xavier Worthy also had 85 yards. And how about Nico Remigio?
Oh my God.
Just filling in for McCole Hardman in a
and
stellar
doing a
fashion.
fantastic job at
Just
it, right?
fantastic.
Like, Nicole, you're going to have to work really hard to get your job back.
I mean, the fact that he's on the team, hey, McCole seems to be like healthy and we win, injured and we win, healthy and we win. Like, you know what I mean? It's like one game he's healthy. 1 year, last year he made the game-winning Super Bowl touchdown for us. So he had that. And then the first year he played with us, he was hurt. So, and then the Bengals year, he was hurt. He got hurt in the Bengals game, actually, the year we beat the Bengals in the AFC Championship.
But Nico is such a talent. He is so good, so special, and it's a lot of fun to watch him.
He is. I'm excited for him. The guy's been up and down off the practice squad, like just a true gamer and of a player for the Chiefs. It's great to see him. And Juju Smith-Schuster, slippery hip Juju, those catch and runs, it's like, dude, if you do not square him up, you're going to have problems. Ask Bradbury a couple of years ago.
Right.
If you don't get in position on him, he's going to slip around you, and you're going to be clutching and grabbing and getting penalties called against you. Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, they're young rookie corners, safety guys. They're really good. They've got a very talented secondary. Our secondary's upgraded huge because Jalen Watson came back, and Watt Island is like it's night and day. Our secondary right now. Oh, the scoring. I wanted to mention the scoring on our schedule. This is the thing that people got to understand. Everybody's talking about, oh, yeah, the Chiefs barely winning games all season long. Yeah, until we got Amenahu back, and until we got DeAndre Hopkins worked into the system, and until Kareem Hunt had been rolling along, and then we got Pacheco as well. And then all of a sudden we went from 2 games back-to-back against the Raiders and the Chargers where we won 19-17, one a ball off the pads against the Raiders, the other one a doink for the division against the Chargers. Then the next week, 21-7 over Cleveland. Next week, 27-19 over Houston. Next week, 29-10 over the Steelers. Double-digit wins, 9-point wins. Like, we were winning by a fair amount. Mm-hmm. Once the team got to be the team they are now, and I would hazard to guess, we'll never know, but I would hazard to say that if Patrick doesn't lose hold of that RPO, we were going to win by 2 scores.
Yeah.
Once that happened, you saw the team, okay, tighten up, focus up, just execute. Don't worry about trying to stretch out the lead. We haven't done this all year. Haven't been trying to airball, skyball, and we saw Josh take a few chances because he felt the pressure. And he needed to do something to keep the defense honest. But, people complaining about the jump ball. Hey, guys, both guys have possession of the ball. Tie goes to the receiver every time. That's the rule. That's the game. Didn't get the first down. There's no angle where you can see the ball through Josh's body. And I've been frustrated and complained about it on this show where it frustrates me where football becomes a dumb game because we can't use physics to understand based on the size of the guy's body. And we know the size and shape of the ball. It's probably across the line right now. Oh, but it could be down by his waist. It could be, we don't see. And the rule is if the ref cannot see the ball with his naked eye, he can't call it a first down. So I don't care where your body is in association to the line. And every video I saw, that line was moving anyway, that yellow line, because it's not official. It's not on the field. It's a camera image.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Well,
but that wasn't the end of the game. It wasn't the end of the game, Huong. What's that?
Yeah. And that rule is the rule. Like, they have to be able to see.
The rule for us too.
Plane. So.
But it's funny how it's like, oh, Josh didn't get touched the ball. Oh, let's change the rule. We didn't change the rule in 2018, 2019 for the Chiefs. But let's change the rule for Josh. Now it's going to be let's change the rule to the Chiefs. So is this the new thing? Whenever the Chiefs win, whatever rule might have helped the other team, that rule is going to get changed and corrected? Okay. And then what happens if you still lose? What's your excuse then? Oh, the refs are helping.
There'll be something different to grasp at.
Daryl says, think I drank too much for the AFC Championship game. It's still a blur. Had to watch the highlights, LOL. I'll tell you what, Daryl Miller and everyone in the chat, if you guys have not seen the game, the NFL put the full game up on YouTube. I was watching the full game yesterday, and I was watching plays, and I was reminded of what I felt that night watching the football game. It was just a damn good football game. My biggest concern was Clete Blakeman was going to get flag happy. He didn't. He made a couple bad calls that didn't help us. like I said, like the Ed Oliver jumping in the neutral zone. There was a no. First of all, they face masked. It was either Worthy or Hollywood Brown. I can't remember because they both have the same kind of dreads. I know Hollywood's are a little bit lighter, but they face masked our receiver, and it was called. And then the referee on the broadcast said in the playoffs, well, we expect him not to call those. It's like, no, he had his hand in the face mask and his head turned. You got to call it. And then later in the game, the same thing happened, a little more egregious. There was no flag. And I'm sitting there and going, just remind yourself who your team is. Hong and I talked about this. The first season they won this Super Bowl, the difference we saw in our team, at least I said this, I remember was talking about it, was the difference between them then and when we had Alex in there, the team would get frustrated. You'd see it in their body language. And they changed, especially in that Texans game when they got way down and came all the way back and put 50 burger on them. Their mentality was, screw it, next down, let's go. Forget it, next play, let's go. As long as that clock still got time on it, I don't care what the score is. I don't care what just happened. I don't care that I threw my second interception with 6.5 minutes to go and we're down 10 against the 49ers. Let's go. We're going to win by 11. And do stupid things that shouldn't happen, but do, because this team's different. DeAndre Hopkins learned that against the Broncos. And Mecole Hardman was the one telling him, just don't get in your head, Burrow. It's not over. This team's different. You don't know. Things happen here. Weird things happen. This team wins in weird ways. And sure enough, doink, we win the game. A second block in the playoffs. The Texans game. Leo Chenal with another blocked field goal. This team is finding ways all over the field, guys. There's no all over. Who would be your 3 stars if there's 3 stars in the game? If the Chiefs win, who do you think the 3 stars are going to be? Huong Forrest.
Well, we got to put Patrick Mahomes, of course.
Okay.
I'd say that Kareem Hunt. Oh gosh, but I always think offense first. But we're talking stars in general. Our defense has been doing a hell of a job, and we cannot discount what they're doing whatsoever. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Nick Bolton is a beast. Chris Jones is doing Chris Jones things as always, of course. Justin Reed. I can't pick 3, Danilo.
Okay.
I can't pick 3.
So Patrick Mahomes, give me an offensive weapon that you think needs to have a good game. I think we already mentioned him.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Travis Kelce needs to have a great game, and I think he's going to. But Kareem Hunt is going to have a great game. So
I think Kareem Hunt. Yeah.
Yes.
On defense, I'm going to read this to you guys. I wrote this the other day. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and one of the things that dawned on me while I was watching the rebroadcast, I was watching it again, and it was like I was watching it for the first time when I was 12 years old. And I'm watching that game, and I'm thinking, because people are like, how did you become a Chiefs fan? I didn't grow up in Kansas City. Full disclaimer, people know this that watch this channel. Yeah. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe, tap the notification bell. What's up, Schlocks? It is going to be a tough game. They're always tough. The Eagles are always tough. I'll give them that. I started watching the NFL after I left the military. I was in the Special Service Forces in Canada, and I was a CFL fan and a hockey fan, and I watched a few NFL games here and there growing up, but we never really had – we always had country cable. We couldn't get NFL games, to be honest. We had 3 channels, and 2 of them were snow in a rural country. I'm going to put this up for Slocks. I will say I have a belief that Mahomes, Reed, Chris Jones, and the rest of the guys, I've worked so hard for so long. I have a feeling Mahomes is going to lay it all on the line. One more game to history. That's correct. Well, they've already made history. We've talked about that, but yeah, this would be immortality, iconic immortality talked about for ages. I watched the Chiefs play. I was kind of watching the Giants when I first started the NFL because I'm like, well, I'll watch New York because I was born there, but I'm like, I'm going to pick my own team. But I watch them because, red, white, and blue. I like that. I was watching them play, and I'm like, oh, Taylor and Sims. There's some good players. These guys are getting old, though. They're not going to be around for long. I want to watch a team that I'm going to be able to follow for a while. And then Kansas City came to town. And there was a young gentleman wearing number 58 who was flying around with his hair on fire. And I was like, that's how you play this game, and that's my team. And that was it. I was hook, line, and sinker for decades of painful football. Had no idea what I was walking into. The buzzsaw of emotion I was going to feel over the years. But we're all reaping the rewards of that now. And I had to feel, when I was watching the rebroadcast of the game, I was watching, and I thought to myself, and I wrote down somewhere, some young man was watching Chiefs versus Texans. I watched that game first. And seeing George Karlaftis flying around, they saw him and smiled and said, that's how you play that game.
That's
The
right.
Chiefs are my team. And though the sack stat sheet wasn't filled up this game either, he was still flying around and impacting the backfield and hurrying Josh. And he was the one that hit him and tossed him on the last throw as well.
Yes.
That maybe threw him off a microcosm, made him throw the ball a second faster than he wanted to and jack that play up. Because to all you people out there who don't know, I played receiver and a bit of tight end. I'll let you guys know. The Mark Andrews falling backwards in the snow with the ball with a little noodle pass, not with no velocity on it, is so frustrating and hard to catch because you're like waiting, you're trying, come to me, get here. The ball's not getting there. That was a hard one. And then the other equally hard one is Dalton Kincaid running full speed this way, having to stop and dive back and focus and catch the ball. Running one way and then turning and tracking the ball. It's so hard. Now, if it's practice and there's no defense and you're just kind of, they're probably catching 9 out of 10. I had great hands. I'll say I would catch 7 out of 10, maybe 8. In cold weather, defense all over you, freezing temperatures, ball's not thrown perfectly, full speed, stop and dive back. It's so hard. And people, I fell into a one of those X conversations that they have online where there's like hundreds of fans in there. It was a Bills Mafia conversation. Oh. I saw it. I'm like, I wonder. And I clicked. I'm like, oh, let me in. Okay. And I'm listening. The hate being thrown at Dalton Kincaid. The hate being thrown at Greg Russo. I'm like, come to us. Greg Russo and Dalton Kincaid. If you want to come to Kansas City, come on over. We'd love to have you. And I bet you'd love to beat the Bills for the next 5 years with us, wouldn't you? You guys need to stop throwing blame on top of people because those guys balled out. They played their butts off. You're playing the back-to-back defending champion Chiefs who've won 3 in 5 years.
Right.
What are you talking about? You think it was going to be a cakewalk? Did you think you were going to come in and beat us by 24 points? We'll beat you by 9 early. We were missing a ton of people the first time we lost. A ton. And that was at your place. Mm-hmm. This was in Arrowhead. It's noisy. McDermott said noisiest field I had never experienced. It was insane. When P. Ryan caught that pass, he said, when everybody knew it was locked, he said the walls were vibrating. So just relax. It's not fun. I know you're hurting right now. Yeah. I know it's tough right now. You're a great fan base. I know you helped out Mark Andrews charity and stuff like that. That's great. But the hate I've heard, because I watched after this Texans one and hearing that, feeling that thing about George, I rewatched the Bills one and I'm watching it and going, I remember what I was thinking was sitting on the couch watching him when we got down 22-21, we're trailing. And I was like, I care who wins. It's not like the Monday Nighter where it was 40-40 Rams and Chiefs and we'd gone back and forth 10 points so many times. I'm like, this is just a great game. No, I want to win because we're one game away from the Super Bowl. But if we don't, I was going in with the Bills. I was going to be totally supporting the Bills in the Super Bowl. I was not. First of all, it's hard for me to support the Eagles anyway. I'll be honest. Well, yeah. But the Bills just played so hard, man. What's that?
And AFC, I always think about this too. Yeah. I'm like, well, if we weren't playing in the Super Bowl, who would I cheer for? I'd want to keep it AFC for sure.
Yeah, this comment here is good. Schlock says, I think Josh Allen was nervous at first, which was obvious, but he only had that fire in his eyes in moments, and Pat had the killer instinct from the first pass. Yeah, Patrick did have an overthrow. Though. Every game, there's always like an overthrow early where it's just like he sails it a little bit because he's so amped. It's just like, you got to get the ball, get the hand under control, get the rocket arm, calm down. And people, you know what's funny is people made fun of him because of the spike that went wrong. And I was like, I looked at that and go, that's just a testament to his greatness, Huong.
Yes.
He's so great. Even when he tries to throw it on the ground, the ball wants to get up and take flight and go to the receiver. Even when he's trying to throw it right at the ground, it's like, no, I need to get to the guy down the field.
That's a really good way to put it, Danilo. I like that.
He's got built-in ball rockets. The league's helping him out again. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I've heard every other excuse this week. You might as well throw that in there. I wanted to touch on the fact that not to be lost amongst all this greatness we're experiencing. Can I get a little round of applause, Cheese Kingdom, for Andy Reid? Okay. everybody gets caught up in, and rightfully so, in the greatness we're seeing with Travis and Patrick, especially Patrick. But Travis also, I'm sorry, he's the GOAT tight end. It's just the only guy who compares to him in the playoffs now is Jerry Rice. And he's probably this season and maybe the first 2 playoff games next year away from owning all the receiving records in the playoffs. A tight end.
Right.
Like, that's amazing. Okay. But Andy Reid, folks, Andy Reid is top 4 winningest coach in the history of the league. 300 club. Like, there's no, like, it's him, it's Belichick, it's Hallis, it's Shula. Not in that order, but it's those 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Only coach to lead 2 teams to 3 straight conference championships. And he led the Eagles to 5, and he's led us to 7. Only coach to go to 3 Super Bowls in a row. Only coach to have the winningest record with 2 separate franchises. He has more wins with the Eagles than any Eagles coach. In fact, pick a pair. Vermeil Peterson, more than them combined. Mm-hmm. Sirianni Peterson, Sirianni Vermeil, doesn't matter. He's got more than those 2 combined. And if you go to the Chiefs side of the board, I can't remember. I got to make sure I get the number. Basically, since Marty Schottenheimer, every coach since Marty Schottenheimer before Andy, if you combine all their wins together, Andy has more wins than them combined.
Right.
We're talking Crennel. We're talking Gunther Cunningham. We're talking Vermeil. We're talking Todd Haley. Like, add them all together, and he's got more wins. This man is doing things. I'm sorry. I'm done with the. Who's the greatest coach of all? No.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's record with the Cleveland Browns. Excuse me, while I pinch my nose. Okay. He got all his wins with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. All right.
Exactly.
He got one of the best franchises in the history of the game. We're in one of those situations right now. Andy's done this with 2 separate franchises in 2 separate conferences.
Yes.
And his other conference, his whole thing, I remember seeing the interviews because I followed him closely because I was a walk-on when Donovan was at Syracuse and became his quarterback. And I watched people boo, and I'm like, you have no idea what you just got, but have fun watching him play. But I watched him, and he would talk every year how important it was. He said, we're building our team. Like, right now, everybody's building their team to beat the Chiefs in the AFC West for sure. And if you're smart around the league, back then it was, we're building our team. Once they lost the NFC Championship to the St. Louis Rams, he said, we're building our secondary to beat the St. Louis Rams. We need to be able to beat the greatest show on turf. That was his focus. And he will dig in and get into a mindset of, I'm going to take this whole franchise and fix it and focus it in a certain way. But he's morphed into this hybrid. I get no receivers. I'm going to get running the ball better. I'm going to use more clever plays with my tight ends, and my quarterback's going to make shit happen because he's amazing. And, oh, by the way, we're going to build with the defense. Oh, I got one of the fastest receivers ever in Tyreek and a great tight end. We're going to go offense crazy. Oh, now I got a mix of receivers. Oh, I lost a couple guys mid-season. Oh, I got one guy, didn't have them all year long. Whatever, we're just going to spread the ball around. And we're going to, let's bring back the guy that hasn't been here for 4 years. Our starter's down. Like, you talk about next man up. Forget next man up. This man makes lemonade with whatever lemons you put in his basket. It doesn't matter. That looks like a papaya. It'll work. It's a papaya, a cucumber, and an apple. I'm going to make lemonade. Yeah, but I said I'm making lemonade. Okay. And you're going to taste it and you're going to go, that's the best lemonade I ever had. That's amazing. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl again? Awesome. This guy. And it's things like sticking with a Hollywood Brown, having the medical team, having the trainer stick with him and work with him and knowing, hey, I got a guy in Xavier Worthy who's like Deshaun Jackson. And I know what I could do with him. And Andy, I got to think Andy's thinking all season long, but what if at the end of the season, I got 2 of them? What? I got a guy who runs angry like he's mad at the ground and Isaiah Pacheco. Oh, he got hurt. Let's bring in Kareem Hunt. And maybe by the end of the season, I'll have 2 of them. Travis Kelce's a great tight end. He gets open. He makes great catches. He gets downfield. Let's train up and coach up Noah Gray, and then I'll have 2 of them.
Yes.
You can't cover 2 of every position. You just can't. No. And a receiver, it's more like 3 or 4 guys, but there's 2 that are just gazelles. So as great as their secondary has been all season long, the Eagles are going to have their hands full covering those guys downfield. And the more we stretch them out and the more we stretch them out and the more we push that bubble open, the more Travis and Noah are going to eat underneath. And Samaji's going to get plays underneath. Samaji's hungry. Kareem's hungry. DeAndre Hopkins is hungry. Hollywood Brown. These guys are veterans that have been around. They know how hard it is to get to this point. Samaji got there once and had it taken out of his grasp, and he was part of the last play that failed. You don't think that dude's got a gigantic motivation going on? Like, he caught that ball, and that dude had scoot factor 10,000 going, let's get up the field and get this first down. And Pacheco should have got the clock rolling. They said he was out of bounds. I'm making sure I stay in bounds. This game's over right now. We're going to the big show. This team, I mean, if Brett Veach doesn't get executive of the year this year, I just shut up, league. I don't even get you. That's another stat I brought up. I'll read to you guys the coaching side of it. Okay. Andy Reid came over in Kansas City the year before, was 2-14. Okay. Andy Reid took the team to 11-5. And the same year, the year before Andy got there, the Carolina Panthers were 7-9. So 7-9 is a lot better than 2-14.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to 12-4. And granted, that's a good change. That's good. Nice job. But is it better than 2-14 to 11-5? And Andy didn't get coach of the year. So when people say Andy doesn't get consideration because they're the best team and this and that, he didn't get consideration when he had the worst team and made him one of the best teams. So I think this team decided a couple of years ago, we don't give a crap about all that regular season garbage. That's just stuff to get through. That's the cornmeal. They're like the poor family in the Dust Bowl in the 20s, where it's a table full of cornmeal. I don't know if you guys know these stories. I'm old, but some families used to put a little piece of beef in the middle of the table, and you had to eat your row of cornmeal to get there. The first one to get there got to have the piece of meat. The Chiefs are just plowing through the cornmeal. They don't care. Week 1, nom nom. Week 2, nom nom nom. Don't care. Blah blah. Oh, we lost to the Bills in week 11. Okay, back on point. Let's not turn the ball over again the rest of the season, including the playoffs against the Texans. I was so worried early in the season. I'm like, oh, Patrick's turning the ball over almost every game. Mm-hmm. Let's go. We play the Bills. First pass, interception. I'm like, dude, is it going to be like this all year? Apparently not. Apparently that was it. I was like, no more of this. I'm taking care of the ball. I'm not trying to do this, that, the other thing. And then we got a Menahu. We got rolling. And all of a sudden we're getting multiple score wins. Could this team be close? Could this game be close? Yes.
Yeah.
Could we lose this game? It could happen. Could we win this game by double digits? I think we could. Could this be a 10-point win like we had over the 49ers? Yeah, I think it could be. I think it could be. Like the first time we had 49ers. They're that good.
Right.
Now the Eagles have a lot of talent. What do you feel? What are your thoughts on the score, Hon? And we're getting close to the end here. So what are your thoughts on the score?
I don't think it'll be incredibly high scoring. I think it'll be pretty similar to what it was this last weekend. I think my original prediction was like 37, 31 or something like that. I think we'll be kind of in that marker again.
That's a pretty high score. That's a good score. I thought you were going to go lower. I mean, the first time we played was 38-35 Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with what I would like to see. I would like to see 44. 32 Chiefs. 44-32. Can we get that? What do you got in the chat, guys?
That is quite the score. I
say 44-32 Chiefs. I think it's going to be a similar thing as to what the Eagles did to almost said Redskins. I said it. Eagles Commanders. I was so hoping as a kid who grew up on the Reds, I was like, if the Commanders could just win, I would be the first one to sign the position to. Can we change the name back and honor all the tribes of North America and have the Chiefs versus the Redskins, the first all Indian American bowl, Native American Indian, whatever you want to call them. We said Indians on the Res, the first Native American bowl. How great would that? People, we'll see. There's talk about them changing the name back. I'm not going to go down that road, but there is strong words about that right now. because a lot of the tribes are not happy about it because they're like, hey, you're getting rid of us. We don't like that. And Commanders is such a neutral, like just useless. If it was a color, it'd be Udinil green. Like nobody would care. It's like, what do you even the Commanders? It's a very British white guy sounding name for a team, to be honest. I just picture some old white guy with a wig on a boat. That's what I picture. Cole says 41-35, so he's in my world. He's in my 40 burger world. I like it.
I like it.
I feel like it's going to be like that's what I'm saying, Hong. I think it's going to be something like we're going to be like low 30s, and the Eagles are going to be like mid 20s, and they're going to start pushing and maybe turn the ball over, and maybe we get a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touch, and then we stretch it out that way, and then maybe Dario says 34-28. Maybe Butker gets 3 or 4 field goals. Who knows? Like it's one of those games where either team could go. And I'll be honest with you guys. This is what I'm going to do this year. I haven't bet all season long. I've been wearing my little serenity prayer. Understand what I don't control. Accept it. Change what I can for the better, and have the wisdom to know the difference. I'm like every time I thought about doing a FanDuel or I download the apps on my phone. I'm like, I look at the stuff. I'm like, I'm not. It's just not. It takes the fun out. I can't just relax and enjoy the game for what it is. I watched that Bills-Chiefs championship. If I had money on players, I'd be hoping for certain guys to get the ball, and I'd be just stupid crap where you can't just watch what's happening and enjoy it. I have a family member who bets for the family every year, and we just put our picks in. It's like their New Year's present for us. And if you win, you get some money. And if you don't, then it was just a fun little thing. So I'm going to put 2/3 of my money on Chiefs win, Patrick Mahomes MVP. And to hedge my bets, I'm going to put a little bit on Eagles win, Saquon Barkley, because I think Saquon Barkley is going to have fun.
He's going to have fun.
If he doesn't get hurt. And I'm going to put a real small amount because it's 150 to 1. I'm going to put like 10 or 15 bucks on Chiefs win. God forbid this happen. But if this ends up being a Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler situation where Patrick gets nicked up or something happens, he just can't go, Carson Wentz with that Chiefs team against his old Eagles team, balls out. Chiefs win, Carson Wentz MVP in something like an ugly 28-23 win. That would pay like, like crazy money for like. I think. So,
are you going to go out and place these bets, Danilo?
What's that?
Are you going to go out and place
my family.
These bets?
I just have to tell my family they're going to place the bet.
Oh, just your bet. Okay.
For me.
They're your bookies.
My majority bet is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I'm not going to make a lot because the odds are very good for that. But my two outsiders that could kind of spike the money if it doesn't go the way I want would be that or this. Now watch it be Chiefs win and who knows? Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt could be the MVP, folks. That I'm telling you, I'm watching that dude run. I'm like, he should be tackled. He should be tackled. He should be touchdown. He should be tackled 4 times. No. He's kind of in the undeniable mode right now.
I think it would be really hard. I think it'd be really hard for Kareem Hunt to be MVP over Patrick Mahomes, though. I feel that in this scenario this year, with Patrick being not even in the consideration for the actual the awards with the NFL, that he would get it in the Super Bowl over any other player.
You're thinking with the we should be fair to everyone. Let's be nice. You're the nice fan in that mentality. I don't see. I would agree with you if you said Travis Kelce or a receiver because it's almost impossible. Like David Givens, who's the guy that was a Michigan superstar, Desmond Howard. These guys win Super Bowl MVPs because they also are kick returners. They do something else that the quarterback's not involved with. Otherwise, it's almost impossible for a receiver to win over the quarterback because who gives the receiver the ball? Yeah. Usually the quarterback. I'm talking about if Travis is if Patrick is like 18 of 22 or 18 of 26 like he was this game, no touchdowns and 1 pick or 1 touchdown and no picks, but Kareem Hunt has like 170 yards and 3 touchdowns plus some receiving yards, he's going to win the MVP. If he's the motor of the offense, by a lot, he's going to win. Like a running back, that's how a running back would. That's why I said Saquon because if he's not falling down on the one, every second, and giving Jalen those 1 or 2 yard touchdowns. If he's taking ones in from out deep, he's going to take it over Jalen. But that's the only way.
In a scenario like that, absolutely. But it would have to be a really big. I don't want to say lopsided, but it would have to be a very significant.
He'd have to be the majority of the offense. I mean, we saw the Chiefs versus the 49ers the first time. Patrick had 2 picks, but he also had some incredible throws and multiple touchdowns. And that made the difference, because otherwise Damian Williams, I thought they should have split it, honestly, because Damian Williams was the locomotive in that game, dude. That dude was not stopping for nobody. We heard all 2 weeks how they could have multiple running backs go for 100 yards against the Chiefs defense. They had 0. We had 1. His name was Damian Williams. He was high stepping in the Air Jordan 1s, Air Force 1s. It was awesome. So anyway, guys, I've had fun. I hope you enjoyed our logo in the background, the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl thing in the background. I kind of like the StreamYard thing. The only thing I don't like about it, guys, Huong Forrest, I'll be honest with you, my whole transition thing, I like that. My other version where I do my show, where I can transition the channels and stuff, and it's easy to get the videos up and stuff like that. This one's a little bit more, convoluted. It's you have to have like multiple weird windows open and stuff. The big thing is they want $88 a month now. It used to be $25 a month. That's why I stopped using StreamYard. Now they want $88 a month.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Do this background stuff. Otherwise, I would just have a white background with the StreamYard logo where the KC logo is up on the top. It'd be the StreamYard logo. It'd be white, and I'd have none of this other Chiefs chat stuff. The reason I have all this stuff in, like I had when I first did the show, if you guys are with us back in 2018-19, this stuff used to be like free, and then it was $5 a month, then it was like $25 a month. Now it's $88 a month. So miss me on that.
Maybe there are other options. Maybe we can look. Yeah,
like I said, I love my Streamlabs where I've got my transition screens and my music and all that stuff, and people tend to like that a lot better. And your video comes in better on that other version too. Like right now, your video is a little more pixelated than normal. On that other
it's not on StreamYard. On StreamYard, the quality is okay, but once it kicks over to YouTube, the quality is awful.
Yeah. I mean, in my window on StreamYard, even it's not as good as it would be if we were in Streamlabs, OBS. So this is all nerd talk. I'm sorry, guys, to bother you with all this. Cole says, I just had a thought. What do you think the odds are?
I'm not coming at you in high def.
What do you think the odds are that you couldn't handle her in high def, folks? I'm sorry. Your eyes will be just crying with tears of joy. I just had a thought, Cole says. Feel free to be embarrassed. Cole says, I just had a thought. What do you think the odds are that we use the Philly special against them? And if we do, who throws the pass to Patrick? I mean, it was a tight end in the other game. It would have to be. Of course. You know what? You know what, though? It wasn't the number 1 tight end. It was the number 2. In Philly, it was the number 2. So Noah Gray.
So
everyone expects Patrick does a fake handoff to Travis Kelce. Oh, no.
And everyone would expect it to come from Travis.
You know that formation we had with the 2 tight ends in the backfield where Patrick ran the ball? The first time Hunt got the touchdown, the second time Noah Gray came in motion, then Patrick took the ball and he ran for the touchdown. Same formation. Direct snap to Travis Kelce. Patrick runs off and kind of just stops on the edge. Travis goes up like he's going to jump up, tosses it to Noah Gray, and Noah Gray just jump passes it to Patrick in the end zone. Bundle Rooski. Bundle Rooski do. Bundle Rooski. It could happen.
That would be a bundle Rooski. That's right.
Daryl says, where's Mackenzie been? Haven't seen her on X. I don't know, man. Haven't seen her all year. I know she was in school for journalism, so she might be busy with that stuff. I'm sure she had I think she had stuff going on the campus as well with the show there. So Daryl says, I'm thinking more 34-28. Daryl says Travis DePatu. That's the most likely. That is the most likely. But it's Andy. So most likely goes all the way out the window.
You never know.
Most likely becomes, what do you think I'm not going to do? That's probably what I'm going to do. And don't forget, we have a couple wide receivers who can move pretty quick. And, I could see the mirror play where they snap the ball and Worthy comes in motion behind and Hollywood Brown goes back across the back of the end zone. Worthy takes the snap and just lobs it in the back of the end zone to Hollywood Brown wide open because he's so friggin' fast. And the only one who can keep up with him running across the field is Xavier Worthy. I mean, there's a lot of options. We'll see what Andy comes up with. There's going to be some tricks. There's going to be some surprises. There could be a fake punt.
Oh, yes.
There could be a fake field goal. We'll see what they got up their sleeves. I'm excited. I think Huong's excited. Any last thoughts? Oh, sacks and turnovers, Huong Forrest. In case I don't get you back on next week, sacks and turnovers.
Okay.
We got 2 against them the first time in the Super Bowl.
Turnovers. I'm thinking, I'm thinking under 4 for sacks and under 4 for turnovers as well.
Okay, I'm with you on
turnovers.
I was a
little greedy last week. I think I was like over 5 on both.
For my 40 burger to happen, I think it's going to be 2 to 3 turnovers. Let's say 3 takeaways. I think we're going to get him 4 times because this time he's nicked up. This time Jalen Hurts is nicked up, and I think, sadly, he's had a couple more concussions this season than they've let on. Particularly the first game where he got concussed. I think he was concussed. I mentioned it on Twitter, on X. If you guys go back and look at my tweets, there was a play late first quarter, early second quarter where he looked like he was concussed getting up. His teammates pulled him off the ground. He was locked in like the what do you call it? The not the push-up position, the where you're prone. What do they call it? Where you're in push-up position but you hold still. What do they call that?
Oh, plank position?
Plank. He was in the plank position and just kind of like locked up. When he got thrown down, his legs twisted over, locked together. They didn't bend. And he just, when he went to get up, he looked like he was frozen in plank position for a second. And then his teammates helped him up, and he was blinking a lot. And they didn't even check him out. And then later in the game, he rolls out, and he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, and he gets hit and isn't protecting himself on the way to the ground and smashes his head. Then he gets taken out with a concussion. I think he was concussed earlier, and I think he had another one later in the season that they just – let's put it this – I'm not throwing shade. There's certain coaches I didn't like back in the day, and they gave me the wrong kind of energy. Nicky's one of those guys.
Yeah.
There's some guys that kind of turn a blind eye and go, it's football. It's football. Rub some dirt on. No, we know some things now we didn't know back in the day. It's not just football. And that can lead to turnovers. That can lead to more sacks. I think he's held onto the ball longer this year than he usually does. That could get you. George is coming. Oh, last thing I wanted to throw out there, and I almost forgot. My vote for this team and league, comeback player of the year, number 90. Brought Sack Nation back to where it is now because of his effect of being on the field. Charles Omenihu, folks.
Yes.
I think Charles Omenihu is the comeback player of the year. Don't give me Sam Darnold. Don't give me all these guys. I mean, he's actually coming back from an injury, not just from a new team, not just off the waiver wire, and not just, I went from that team to this team. No, he's literally coming back from an ACL tear. And his impact on this team has been so great.
It's been huge. We know that, but I don't know that it's gotten the kind of recognition that we would like for it to have.
Well, let me talk for Charles right now. If I was Charles and the league comes to me and says, like Andy, like Brett, like Patrick, you can have your personal award or you can have another Lombardi, I think we know the answer.
Oh, yes.
I think we know the answer.
Oh, yes.
That dude was so salty that he didn't get to be in the game last year. Right. He was 1 game away. Dude, he's going to be a man on fire on this Super Bowl Sunday. He's going to be an impact in this football game. So that's my comeback player of the year. That's my X factor on defense. I'm looking forward to seeing this game. We got our scores in. I think we're going to have 4 sacks. I think we're going to have, I'm going to say 3 takeaways. Whether that's a 4th and down, maybe that's a tush push that we stop. I don't know, but I think we're going to have 4 takeaways. I think they're going to be more, 3 takeaways. I think they're going to be more impactful than that. Maybe I was right. Maybe I just said 4 and it's going to be 4. We'll see. That'd be great. This team is on a mission. I feel like we're going to win. It baffles Cole Kelleher that the NFL doesn't consider turnovers on downs to be actual turnovers. No, they do. Most people do. Commentators don't like to say that. They don't like to give credit where it's due. It's literally in the name. Turnover on downs. You didn't voluntarily give it to them. You had no choice. They took it from you by stopping you. So, and what's a better play? What's a more impactful play? You throw the ball on 3rd or 4th down, 55 yards down the field. I intercept it and fall in the field of play and then out of bounds on my 10-yard line. Or I stuff your quarterback at midfield or on your side of the field. As exciting as that takeaway is, way back there, if I'm 45 or 50 yards closer to the end zone, that's better.
Oh, yes.
That's just math. Okay. In a game of inches, tens of yards makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Especially at this level. Do you have any last thoughts for us, Huong Forrest, before we say goodbye to these fine folks?
Nope. I'm excited. I'm not excited about, Pro Bowl this weekend, as some of the conversations already said, but y'all, we've got a lot to be excited about the following weekend.
Yeah. Do yourselves a favor. Take this week, next week. Just go, forget about all the, if you want to watch the NFL stuff, if that stuff's fun for you, the news, the media, all that stuff, that's great. Go ahead. Watch the different things. I'm going to watch old championship games that we won. I'm going to watch old playoff games that we won. I'm just going to remind myself, by the way, the last few games I'll watch will be from the last 2 years, and remind myself one X factor we haven't talked about. Our 2022 draft class does not lose playoff games. Has never, and hopefully at the end of the season, will have never lost a playoff game. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Nobody does that. That's just not a thing anybody does. Whole draft class is not knowing what it's like to lose in the playoffs. Now, there's some that don't know what it's like to lose in the playoffs because they don't make the playoffs.
Right.
This is not that team. These guys, you want to talk about confidence? Guy that came in talking about I'm addicted to hitting people is now blocking field goals. The other guy that came in all bashful, all shucks, is now leading our team in sacks. This is the corners that came in and learned under L'Jarius Sneed are now leading the way in the secondary. Trent McDuffie went from no interceptions to multiple interceptions. Like, we are different. It's not just Patrick Mahomes. It's this whole club. From top to bottom, stem to stern, coaches, everything. I think Dariel Miller saying it best at the end of this thing right here. Let's go Chiefs. Huong Forrest, say it with me. The last 2 words of every show, as always.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. We'll see you guys. Oh, dude.